Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're episode 330 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's street fighting before the street fighting tournament happened with me tonight?
I'm Julian Titus, embracing the my transition to charge characters in this trilogy.
Ooh, excited to talk about that. I'm Dan Melman, and I'm ready to face it straight.
And we are here to talk about Street Fighter Alpha series, technically, because we're going to talk about Alpha 1, 2, and 3, which made by Capcom, developed by Capcom. First one came out in 95, second one comes out in 96, and 3 comes out in 98. So we're going to be talking about all 3 in different versions of them. So I would like to start these off with our history. So I have never touched an Alpha game in my life, even though I played ton of Street Fighter 2 as a kid, played Street Fighter 2 in the arcade. I had never touched this game. Only thing I knew about it was for some random reason Street Fighter Alpha 2 was on Super Nintendo, but why is only the second game on? And my brain didn't realize it's not really the second game. It's more of it's just how, how fighting games worked, but I never touched it back in the day because I was like, I'll play the first one someday first.
Oh, interesting.
That was how I thought as a kid, and I just never cared because I'm not a big fighter. So that's not my series or my type of game. So that's my history with the Alpha. What about you, Julian?
Oh man, huge! Like I was there for it. I go back to Street Fighter 1 with the I actually got to play like a version of it that had the 2 big pressure sensitive buttons, which apparently they didn't make very many of those. So I was lucky that our Tilt arcade had one of those. I was a huge arcade rat, and I loved Street Fighter. Like when Street Fighter 2 came out, it was a massive thing. And, this was, of course, back with me like following video game magazines all the time. And so, I had already seen like arcade previews of Street Fighter Zero, from Japan. And I was so excited because I was like, oh, they're going to explain like how Ryu got the red bandana. Oh, just like dumb stuff like that. But it's like, it's like really fun, dumb stuff. Like Alpha, it's probably my favorite bit of Street Fighter, like the series.
Okay. And Daniel.
I'm a little younger. I was born the year Street Fighter 2 came out, so I kind of missed the whole thing, but was like aware of it. So Street Fighter always had some mystique for me. The first one I really played in an arcade was actually Third Strike, so it was pretty late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't really have many arcades around. But around that time, the Game Boy Color version of Street Fighter Alpha came out. I had that at some point. Weird version. I wish I'd gone back and looked at it. And then
I didn't know it was on Game Boy Color.
Yeah, and you hold the button longer to do the heavier attacks. It sounds terrible, but fascinating.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
Mortal Kombat 1 on Game Boy.
that I also had. And then when the PS2 collection came out, it came out around the time I went to college, and I played a ton of Street Fighter with a friend, mostly 3 and 2 HD Remix.
Okay.
I think I'm the only person who's played that much HD Remix, from what I've heard. But we also played a bunch of that Alpha collection, and I like Alpha. I have sort of mixed feelings about it, but going back, and I play Alpha 2 on Fightcade a lot. It's kind of in my rotation. I think that game's really interesting, and I worry if I get more into it, I'll like it less. I guess we'll talk about that.
I won't be able to speak to any of the fighting game aesthetics or any like the way fighting game work because I didn't pull off a single super out of all the alphas that I played for this episode, which I went through Alpha 1 with all the characters, Alpha 2 with almost everybody, and Alpha 3 I just beat it with Ryu because I just was done. But I can't do supers. I also never looked up. I just tried to press buttons to see if I could figure out combos on my own.
Oh yeah, it's like a double quarter circle.
Yeah, never did any of them. I never did anything. That's not me in fighters though. I mean, that's just I actually play fighters for the story. So I will tell us the entire story of Alpha as we go through this episode, but I'll have you guys explain more of the fighting aspects and things because that is not my world, unfortunately. Like,
I mean, that's kind of one of the cool things about Alpha is it's like it kind of deepens a lot of the lore. Like I think Street Fighter 2's story is a lot weirder after the Alpha games than it is before.
Yeah, because Street Fighter Alpha in the story-wise takes place after Street Fighter 1, but before Street Fighter 2 happens.
Yes.
which makes the titles Alpha and Zero a bit confusing. But I was always a little confused by that as a kid.
I mean, the whole reason why this game exists is because they had too many arcade boards and they needed to sell boards.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this game exists.
Well, so story-wise, it's like what they do with 3, where the first 2 games are the same story, and then the third one's a sequel. Remembering correctly?
Yes. No, that's correct for the story.
3 is definitely the one that has like the most story of the 3. Like Bison is there in a really big way, and he's involved in nearly all of the endings. I think he is the last boss in everybody's arcade run. Where the first 2 games, you fight different people depending on who you select.
Yeah, they vary a lot, and which I like that, by the way. I think that's a really cool touch.
Yeah, like who's waiting for you at the end of this journey? It could be Bison, could be someone else. It's not just a tournament going on.
Yeah. And we have a mysterious fighter that just joined.
Hello, everybody. I am Kyle, and oh my god, I'm trying to think of a good Street Fighter reference. Actually, you know what? I'll go for a basic one. Sonic Boom.
Always solid.
It works. And he's sort of in this game. So the ability is, at least.
Yeah, well, Charlie.
He's in Zero
he's in
Three
Alpha.
up here.
Yeah, he is. He is in Alpha 3. He is.
I did not mess with Alpha 3 enough because I was done by that point.
He's it. So we'll get to it later. But as I was getting ready to, as I was playing these games just as a refresher, because I've dumped hundreds of hours into the 3 of these games over the years. I was like, oh wait, the Alpha 3 that I like is the PlayStation 1 version, because that's the one that has Balrog and DJ and Guile in it.
Yeah,
I had the Dreamcast version as a kid. That's the one I played.
It's such a shame the PS1 version is such a piece of crap, because it has so much limited animation. The load times are bad, and it's like, oh no, I grew up with that version, but man, it's hard to go back to that port.
Yeah, I actually missed mentioning that. I did have the Dreamcast Alpha 3 and played a bunch of that World Tour mode. That when I was a kid, that was definitely the bulk of my Alpha time.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I discovered the Alpha Anthology back in 2006, when it came out, it just came out and I started renting it, I fell in love with that collection. That's honestly, Alpha Anthology is one of the greatest, collection games of all time. The porting, I don't want to even call it emulation because it's not. The porting of the games is perfect. It's arcade perfect. There's no in-game loading. Everything is arcade perfect. It's so fucking incredible how good of a job Capcom did.
No, they did do a good job. I mean, I emulated the PS2 version, but I really did like it.
Oh, yeah, I also emulate, to this day, I actually emulate the PS2 Alpha Anthologies.
Wait, was the PS1 version of this the long box PS1 game?
No. Alpha 1, was. Alpha 2 and 3 were just normal-sized boxes.
Okay. I just saw a picture, I was like, wait a second.
I actually bought Alpha 1 with my PlayStation 1. I bought that and Doom.
Nice.
Alpha 1 is really, I think the cast in Alpha 1, 2 is a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Because you have
it's a weird
Ryu, Chun-Li, Ken, Guy, who's from the Final Fight series. You have a Don from fucking Street Fighter 1.
Also, Gen from Street Fighter 1.
I think
he's not till 2.
Birdie also from Street Fighter 1.
Birdie's also from, I'm sorry, Jesus.
It's weird. Birdie, Saddam
Birdie's
from
in Alpha
Final
1.
Fight.
Yeah. Birdie's in Alpha 1, my apologies.
Sagat returning, and then Bison, Akuma, and Dan are the secret characters in Street Fighter Alpha 1.
Something that I really love, and this is such a really sweet touch, and I'm so happy Capcom did this, even for the US version, even though, we technically didn't get this, is if you go into the options mode of Alpha 1 in the Alpha Anthology for PS2, if you go to the sound option, you can switch the BGM settings where you can switch from CPS1 sounding music to CPS2 sounding music. So there was a version of Alpha 1 with the CPS1 Capcom sound hardware. So you get this kind of lower, I don't want to say lower quality because the quality's good, but it just sounds kind of lower, in the audio production, but it's really fucking impressive. In fact, I actually really love a lot of the Alpha 1 track done through CPS1, especially Guy's theme sounds awesome in CPS1. I'm a big fan of Charlie's theme in CPS1. That also sounds fantastic.
All right.
Should we talk about Kyle's history or
yes, we should.
Kyle, right?
Right.
Okay. Or do we want to go on to the games? Cool.
No, we should talk about his history.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's see here. So with Alpha Anthology, yeah, I discovered this in 2006, right as it came out. I saw it at a rental store, and I was like, "Wait, Alpha Anthology!" And then I looked on the back. And I'm like, "Oh, this is all the Alpha games. Oh my god, yes, please!" And then I went home and I put in my PS2, and I realized these are all the arcade ports. It's not like the home ports, but it's arcade. And then I started playing it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome!" But then I started playing it more and more and unlocking everything, and it's like, oh, like they give you everything of the Alpha games in this, and I just I felt deeply head over heels in love with this collection. Like,
does that version have like the characters they added for like the PS1 and Dreamcast versions?
Yeah, the way you unlock it in Alpha 3 is you have to beat Alpha 3 and then go back to the game selection menu. Hold down select and then press start and keep holding select until I believe it's either the Capcom logo or the Q Sound logo. And then the title screen will be a different color, and then you'll have all the characters. Except basically except for the PSP characters, which is Yun, the Moe girl, and Eagle.
So it's just emulating 03 Upper, right?
Pretty
and
much.
It also has Alpha 2 Gold?
Yes. Yeah. You could also you can also Alpha 2 Gold is already on the game select menu. You don't need to do any like hidden codes to unlock it.
Okay. I did not play any Alpha 2 Gold for this.
Alpha 2 Gold kicks ass. Alpha 2 Gold was how
I played a lot more normal Alpha 2. Just because Gold isn't particularly populated on Fightcade.
Yeah, I understand. I discovered Alpha 2 through Alpha 2 Gold because that was the port on like PlayStation and stuff, because the Alpha 2 Gold is basically, it's all the best of Alpha 2, but there's even extra bonus stuff, like the soundtrack is arranged instead of being CPS2 hardware, it's Red Book audio. And I actually really like a lot of the Red Book tracks for Alpha 2. There's a whole bunch of extra goodies. You can select different versions of certain characters. Like, you can play Ryu without his super bar, and, like, you can play Sagat and Ken and Chun-Li, and, like, 3 different versions of Chun-Li, and M. Bison as well. And
they put a lot into this game.
Oh, yeah. Man, Capcom put so much love into this fucking series. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. So, like, one thing about Alpha 1, too, that I thought was funny, which does not follow anywhere else. In Alpha 1, Bison is a drug dealer, but never is he a drug dealer again. Just Alpha 1.
Well, he had to get the money for start the Shadowloo organization. And
then, exactly.
Once he was established, you didn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But also there's a hidden Easter egg, or not really an Easter egg, but there's a glitch in this game where if you do you can see half of the FBI logo at some point, where they were like, yeah, they probably were given money, have to put in like, hey, we got to make sure kids don't do drugs because, you know, it's that time.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So they think that's why...
That was in everything at the time, right?
Yeah, but they think that's why that message of him being a drug dealer is in 1 and then goes away in Alpha 2, which essentially the real version of the Alpha 1 story is Alpha 2.
Also, sorry, this is a neat little thing I noticed about Alpha 1 that I really love, and this is how kind of rushed Alpha 1 was as a game, where like Capcom wanted to get this like out, and they wanted it to be impactful, but they needed to get it out and released. Is if you play as Dan in the game, they actually don't have much of a character model for him yet, or a preset, and all of his moves, it's basically just reused voice. Like, it's literally just reused voice. It's not until Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 where Dan actually has his own, like, voice and has his own, like his own actual move pronunciations. Like, he actually says his actual move. Where in Alpha 1, if he shoots his little Godoken, he just goes, ha! Like, he doesn't actually say Godoken. Like, I love that.
Yeah. Just him like being added to the series was so cool because it all comes from this one piece of like, I mean, it's not, I mean, the art is gorgeous, but it's kind of a joke piece of art with Sagat holding, who's like
Robert
very
Garcia,
obviously
right?
a character from Art of Fighting, like with a broken neck in his hand. And then that basically got turned into the backstory for Dan. Mm-hmm. And like there is I think it's only when Dan fights Sagat in the Alpha series where he has that body before the battle starts. Just little things like that is why I love the Alpha series so much. There's so much fan service in there and just neat little Easter eggs. And also just like as a big like Final Fight fan, like the confirmation of merging those two universes together was like a big deal for me.
Yeah, that's what. So you also played Final Fight in arcades?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I want to hear your mains for all the games. I want to hear everyone's mains as we get to them.
Sure.
Also, just a fun bit of trivia: in SVC Chaos, that's the SNK developed SNK Capcom crossover.
Yeah.
Dan is literally just Robert Sprite recolored. Like they leaned hard into it.
Wow.
That's funny. They knew.
Oh.
They sure did. Yeah, they have a bunch of unique dialogue together too. That game sucks, but I love it.
Yeah, that game, I agree. That game does fucking suck, but there's some fun. There's some fun and cute fan service. I love
But
that
it's so good.
I love that you can play as a Mars person. Like that's I love that. Like, you can actually play as the fucking alien from Metal Slug. Like, oh my god.
Has good vibes.
I know.
Also, like in Alpha 1, to kind of talk about who I mained, I just use Ryu. That's just always my go-to in any Street Fighter game.
He's a good, solid, basic character. Like,
yeah, Ryu and Ken. I do
Yeah.
better with Ken than I do with Ryu. I don't know what it is. I've always been more comfortable with Ken's style.
Ken
But I
has a
enjoy
lot
both
of
of them.
really nice features to him as a character that I think people adapt to a little bit more than maybe with Ryu.
What do they add to Ken in Alpha? Because I know at some point he gets the extra kicks.
It's not so much this was added in Alpha, but it was added in Super Turbo. Well, added in Super and Super Turbo. But Ken has, I know, like, I think I don't know if his Hadouken is weaker so much, but like his Hadouken is for example, like his Hurricane kicks do extra kicks, have extra hits, and his Shoryuken is, I think, a lot better than Ryu's, and like. Yeah, there's
extra hits and Ryu's only hit.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I said, Ken has a couple of nice little features added to him as well.
He gets that forward roll too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Alpha 1 or if that's Alpha 2 and beyond.
I believe that's in Alpha 1.
Yeah, the Alpha. I think it's the Alpha games where it was introduced.
Yes, Ken feels kind of like squirrely in Alpha compared to Ryu. While Ryu like can hold his position better.
Yep.
Yeah, this was definitely like the moment where they really solidified the difference between them in a way that I really appreciated, because for so long they had been just kind of mirror characters basically, and here it's like, oh no, Ken is like way flashier. He's got like higher hit combos, but Ryu just feels, like you said, like more solid and kind of just like a better like all round type character.
Every change kind of reflects something they want to convey about that character's personality and fighting style, which I think is a nice thing about I guess it's really the Street Fighter 2 thing, how different everybody feels. And Alpha has a lot, Alpha has mostly new characters.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have most of the Street Fighter 2 cast. There are a few obvious clones like
there will be more soon, but yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Definitely more clones later. Like Charlie's Guile. Adon seems Vega adjacent, but a little different. Sagat's there, obviously.
He's very different. I mean, isn't he very different than Vega? I like Adon
he's
too.
The closest analog, I think. I didn't play a ton of Adon. I mostly played Guy. Some can.
Guy is hard
with Ryu. Yeah,
Guy's
hard.
Guy.
You need he even has a shorter throw range. Like you got to get really close. Fake out his. He can do 3 different things with his dash depending on how you start it, so you need to decide beforehand. But yeah, that's the thing. Like you need to move really fast as Guy, but have planned ahead, plan the arc of where the person's going to be if you're going for the air throw or the cross up with the roll. Like every character feels different in such strategically interesting ways.
And it is really cool. I didn't know Birdie was from Street Fighter 1 ever until I watched a freaking 2.5 hour video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I really do appreciate that, and I appreciated the fact that that they bring people, they did that, and all the Final Fight stuff. I really love seeing Guy in this, and I haven't played Final Fight 1 as much. I didn't recognize Saddam right away.
Yeah.
I was more of a Final Fight 2 and 3 guy.
What a name, Saddam.
I've played all.
I
grew up with all the Final Fight games in my childhood, so I recognized him.
And I really like Rose in this. I like her character. I like where her story goes.
Yeah, and she's literally just a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure character.
Yeah, she's Lisa. Where does her story go? I don't actually know what her deal is.
I don't play a lot. I don't play as Rose that often, so I don't remember.
Rose is kind of the antithesis of Bison.
Yes.
So Bison has the psycho power and Rose has the soul power, and they're kind of like diametrically opposed energies, basically. Yes. So she's a pretty big foil for everything that Bison's trying to do. I don't recall like her actual like story through like the series, but that's the big like conflict between them.
In this, she's his Horcrux, pretty much. She's the other half of his soul.
Weird. Oh, I don't remember that. Interesting.
Yeah, that sticks on until end of 3. I think he takes it back. Or no, maybe just in 4 he takes it back. I watched a lot of, but yeah, no, he put supposedly the story is he put his, I don't know why I say supposedly to a video game, but he put all the good in him was taken out, and then she absorbed it somehow, not by choice. But you know, if he dies, she dies, but he can always come back. You have to kill her. Yeah, so essentially Horcrux.
Yeah, I'm reading about it on Wikipedia.
Strange.
Weird stuff.
Oh, yeah, Alpha gets weird.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
It was really, like, it made me so happy to finally play these games because, like, I've always seen them, but I had no context to understanding them, and now I finally do. Like, I know I recognize these characters now. I got to experience them. Like, I was a little bummed I didn't play more Alpha 3, because I only played it through with one character, but I was just kind of done at that point, because I played a lot. Played a lot of Alpha.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I played all these games throughout my childhood, and then without the Alpha Anthology in the 2000s and 2006, like, I just fell in love all over again. And, like, since then, I've been continuously playing the Alpha games, and, you know, until pretty much I sold a lot of my retro games and stuff, I then started, you know, with my good gaming PC, I started emulating on PS2 and playing again, and it's like, God, I love this fucking collection so much.
Oh, that's fair.
To prep for this podcast, I played a bunch with my college friend who I played the Alpha collection with. We played on Fightcade.
Hell yeah, Fightcade.
Yeah, played a bunch of all these games. It was awesome. Yeah, Fightcade's amazing. I was just before the podcast on playing some Alpha 2, and so excited to talk about that game and more of it. But Julian, would you mind? So you played the Alphas when they first came to arcades, yes, after playing the first two. What was the reaction like? What was it like playing it, you know, with other people when it was new? Like, what did people think of it?
People were pretty down on Alpha 1 when it came out.
I can get that.
The chain combos was like a super controversial thing. People really hated it. I loved it. I actually really messed with it like right off the bat. I think my personal biggest complaint about Alpha 1 was the lack of personalized stages for the characters.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them get
reused. Yeah. But overall, like, my thing was that, like, I really loved the anime art style. I loved that it was a prequel, which is kind of funny because now I kind of hate most video game prequels. But I was super into them fleshing out some of the backstory of Street Fighter 2 with this prequel. And my thing is that, I mean, I played it a lot in the arcade, obviously, but really my big experience with Street Fighter was on home consoles because I played the hell out of these games with my cousin David. And so I know you had mentioned talking about like your main. I don't have a main in most fighting games because we just played everybody all the time. I had characters that I liked more than other characters, but like my kind of claim to fame, like I don't claim to be like any expert Street Fighter or anything like that, but I can pick up pretty much every character from like anything before Street Fighter 3 and fight a competitive match with them without even any practice, just because I played a shit ton of them back at the time in the time. So like Ken was definitely like my favorite in Alpha 1, but you know, I used everybody like a lot.
That's awesome.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say about Alpha 1, or should we go to Alpha 2?
I like Alpha 1 even as kind of bland as it is, but I think it's also a really important stepping stone for Street 100%. Fighter as a whole, and I love all the references it has to the Street Fighter animated movie, which I really love that movie. I don't know, the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, this movie actually fucking kicks ass. Like, I liked it as a kid, but at times I found it a little boring. But now, like, it's not that like the movie's high art or anything. Like, it's your kind of basic kind of an action movie, like a martial arts movie with like some, you know, interesting story plots and everything. And it's basic, but like, no, like the older I get, the more I'm just like, oh, this movie is fantastic and a really great adaptation. And is like, it's so impressive how much this movie gets right. And yeah, Alpha 1 carries that movie in spades, and I love Alpha 1 for that reason especially.
Was dramatic battle Was Dramatic Battle in 1, or was that added in 2?
That's in 1. It is in 1, but it's in basically all the alpha games.
Yeah, so the Dramatic Battle is a direct reference to the end of the Street Fighter 2 movie.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Where, it's Ryu and Ken. You can even do 2-player co-op fighting against Bison.
And that's awesome. And also, fun fact, I believe it's in the Japanese version. If you do the dramatic fight against Bison, it plays like a CPS 2 and CPS 1 rendition of the song that plays in the Japanese version of the animated movie on that fight scene. Because the Japanese audio and the English dub audio for the animated movie have separate soundtracks, where the Japanese version is all original composed music, and the English dub has a licensed soundtrack.
Yeah.
So very, very direct connections to that movie.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right. I guess we'll go to Alpha 2. So Alpha 2, as I said earlier, also came out 2 years, came out in 96 for the first one a year later. I think Alpha 2 was the one that I had known of because this was the only one that was on Super Nintendo when I was a kid.
Yep.
The only one on Super Nintendo, period. But
I remember renting the Super Nintendo port of this.
So I remember looking at it, but I never rented it. I never played it. I think this was one of the games that one of my neighbors had. So he had pulled it out once in a while, but I was like, I don't know what this is, and I don't care. Because I had Street Fighter 2, and Alpha, which just didn't interest me.
I get it.
So that was my only stuff really with Alpha 2. But so this one has all the same cast, but it introduces a few new characters and a few old characters. This is the first one where Akuma is playable and Dan is playable, is not a secret character. They're just there.
Yep.
Or I don't think, no, Dan and Akuma weren't even playable, I don't think, in the first one. I think they were just boss fights.
You can play as them in Alpha anthologies.
Okay, but originally,
If you go into versus or training mode, you can play as them.
Okay, and this added Zangief, came back.
Also, and Bison's playable too in Alpha 2.
And Dhalsim.
Yep.
And then they added 3 other new characters. Jen, which is an old man.
Yep.
Sakura, which is a favorite of people's.
Yes, she rolls.
And what the hell is that other guy's name? Roloff or Rodolph?
Rolento.
Thank you.
Rolento.
Oh man, this is gonna sound really dumb, but I always hated Rolento being in the game because I'm kind of a purist about the tournament aspect of the series, and I'm like, you can't bring grenades and knives into a street fight. It's not okay.
Well, they're not in a tournament though. In either of these this is a tournament. This is not a tournament.
Yeah,
I think they're just fighting.
Yeah, they're just fighting each other.
I guess that part always I never you guys mentioned that. I was like, oh, I guess I don't remember that from playing it back in the day. I just assumed it was a tournament because they were always a tournament. But yeah, I always I love using Rolento. He's a really fun character to play. but I always used him grudgingly.
Fast and ridiculous and all his rolling around and shit.
Yeah,
he's my Alpha 3 character. I love landing his fishing hook super.
Yes,
where all his companions come and throw firebombs in. By the way, I just looked it up. Akuma and Dan are playable in the arcade version of Alpha 1 through secret codes.
Yeah, secret codes. Sorry about that.
That's what I was remembering. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
Are they?
I think Alpha 2 has the Super Akuma.
Yes, it does.
Akuma.
Yeah, Shin Akuma, which has all sorts of broken shit, and it's amazing.
But normal Akuma is balanced, or it's supposed to be balanced at the very least.
More balanced. Yeah,
there he is. Cool.
Is this the game where Akuma is added to the story essentially when it comes to this?
Yes. Yeah, because up to that point he had only been like a hidden character that would show up in various games. I'm trying to remember if this came out before or after Cyberbot, because he's also a hidden character in there.
Really, a playable character?
Yeah. I mean, he's a giant Akuma mech, but
okay. I love that game. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but we didn't get that in the States also, so I guess it would have been kind of a moot point anyway.
Yeah.
His introduction, of course, was in Super Turbo.
Yes,
where he's a secret boss that only the computer plays. There's no way to play him in that.
Yeah,
he's a great boss type villain for Street Fighter, though.
So cool. Just coming out of the shadows and killing Bison effortlessly and then fighting you. It's so cool.
Which is not canon, by the way. So
it's not.
Still, what a way to introduce a character.
Yeah,
it is really cool.
Selling oranges in the Street Fighter movie canon.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I wish I didn't.
Yeah, Akuma is in the animated movie. I hope you do that for a Patreon episode, Mike. It's a good movie.
I'm going to do the movie anyway soon. I actually been thinking about it off and on. It just hasn't happened yet. So
Nice.
And
So
this made me want to do more.
So Alpha 2, I didn't play much of it until I went to a PAX East.
Okay.
And they had the Super Nintendo version set up. And there was one guy playing with his friends, and they were doing a round robin, and one guy was just dominating. And I said, hey, could I have a game? They said, sure. And I beat this guy pretty easily, and all his friends cheered, and one of them handed me $1. Because they were like so happy to see their friend put in his place, kind of. So I went home and got really into Alpha 2 and really tried to learn it at that point.
There you go.
That's cute.
It's now the one I go back to the most. It's the one me and my friend played fairly regularly. That's the Alpha I go back to. I have mixed feelings about custom combos and really want to hear what y'all think of them, and especially what people thought of them in the arcades, Julian, if you played that one there. Because they're so fascinating. Or do we want to talk about what they are first?
I don't even know what they are personally. I do know.
Oh, fine. Anybody wants to take it away, go ahead,
Sure. So custom combos are another way you can use meter. I think in this one it's by pressing like 2 punches and a kick or 2 kicks and a punch. And I think that has different amounts of meter. Anyway, it removes all the recovery from your attacks for a very quick amount of time. Maybe like, I think it's like 7 or 8 seconds with full meter. And it adds a bunch of juggle properties. So you can, if your execution is good enough, you can do really, really damaging combos. Like, I know Birdie has like a touch of death, and that's just how you play him. But you could also say, spam a bunch of fireballs on top of each other to chip someone out, or get through someone's guard by having like a really strong mix-up. Like, there's a lot you can do with it, depending on the character. But also, it feels like it raises the skill floor a lot. So I have mixed feelings about it, if that makes sense. Like, you kind of need to have a custom combo in your pocket if you're going to compete a lot of the time.
And this is one of those things where, because, like, I mean, I was playing in the arcade, but there wasn't necessarily, like, if there was, like, a scene, I wasn't aware of it because, like, the arcade that I would frequent the most was just, like, most of the time you were playing against the computer, or maybe once in a while, like, someone else would come up and play you. So, again, mostly I was playing with my cousins, so it was a thing where we messed with the custom combos a little bit, but it really, I think for me, it didn't really come into play much until Alpha 3 with the V-isms. And there's like a handful of characters that I will select V-ism for, which gives you access to the custom combo instead of their normal super combos. But I don't recall, like, really what the sentiment was at the time. Like, I've since watched, like, Alpha 2, like, tournament footage from back in the day, and they were doing, like, some crazy shit with custom combos.
Yeah.
But that definitely wasn't, like, my experience or my cousin's experience. We were like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then we just kind of went back to, like, how we'd always been playing the game.
Mm-hmm. That has mostly been my experience with it, until I went online and saw some people pull some stuff off, and I was like, oh, there's actually a lot of interesting strategic depth to how you can use this.
Yes.
Cool stuff. And that's combined with just how polished that game feels. Like, it is maybe the best feeling Street Fighter 2 game to me.
Alpha 2 is still played in tournaments.
Upgrade.
The backgrounds are like the best in the series,
yes.
I think.
Yeah,
they get good.
I fucking love Rolento's stage, the elevator. I love Sakura stage. I love Dance stage, that market, and I think Hong Kong. Like, there's so many good fucking stages.
I'm a big fan of Ken's stage, which is I think his birthday party on a cruise ship, and like a bunch of Capcom cameos have come to celebrate.
Yes,
that's a really good one.
So cool.
Yes.
Every time that I would play my cousin, we would never end a session without a Ken versus Ryu against the lightning background in the field. Like, that was always the final match, no matter how long we've been playing.
I actually, as a kid, had a really bad fear of, like, thunderstorms. So, like, whenever I'd see thunderstorms in video games, I'd be, like, really afraid of them. So, like, I never played that level because I'm like, oh, no, it's a thunderstorm.
Fair.
Our end of session in college was Ken versus Chun-Li, music off, and with a whole new world from Aladdin playing in the background. Because we always had really intense matches when that song was playing.
I really like Chun-Li in this. I like her design a lot.
It's so cool.
Her outfit fucking rules. Like, it's so cool.
And it feels less iconic in a way than her, like, Street Fighter 2 outfit. In a way that's really cool. Like she reads as younger with this So cool. And I know in 3 you can use her original outfit somehow. I don't know if
you can also use it. You can also use it in Alpha 2 Gold. Or 02 Alpha, which is 02 Alpha is basically Alpha 2 Gold, but in arcades, for the record.
Yeah, it's the Japanese title.
Yeah. No, but specifically 02 Alpha. Like, it's called 02 Alpha. That has it's Alpha Gold, but but that was made specifically for the arcade. So you get the arranged soundtrack and you get all the extra features of Alpha 2 Gold.
And they change how alpha counters work.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, like it's a little easier to pull off. It's just like forward and a punch and a kick.
Yep.
I don't know if that's easier. I actually love the original input for alpha counters, which is when you're blocking, it's a quarter circle down and 2 attacks, which just feels so cool to pull off. It's like, oh, I'm doing a quarter circle like with the momentum of their attack, and I kind of miss that.
I always love the look of Sagat's alpha counter. It's just such a powerful looking kick, and every time that I watch the first Matrix, and it's the Neo and Morpheus like sparring match, and there's that part where Neo does the backflip over Morpheus, and then he just does that kick, and I'm like, alpha counter.
Yeah, and alpha counters also use a little meter along with the custom combos. So by the and you have 3 different levels for your supers. So by the time you get to Alpha 2, what you can do with the meter is so much more intricate, and you have so many more strategic options with it. And Street Fighter 3 and Darkstalkers did the same thing with X attacks, but this is like a different singular sort of feeling. It's like, oh, I can use some meter to control space. I can use this meter to, I don't know, punish this jump in with a custom combo at greater risk of whiffing it. Or I can use supers. So cool. Such a good video game.
Yeah, Alpha 2 is really good.
I love it.
Sakura's a really nice character added here, too.
One of my favorite fighting games of all time. Sakura is also awesome. I love her.
I
love her dashing Shoryu.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, she was like one of my favorites from the get-go, and I'm still waiting to this day for them to introduce like a fully grown version of the character, because I want to see like, well, what did you turn into? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I want to see the glow up.
That would be a great Street Fighter 6 character. I would buy Sakura. Absolutely.
I mean, we're still getting Street Fighter 6 characters. It's going to be a bit, so maybe we'll get it.
And every single redesign is amazing. Every single redesign is so cool.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
So, yeah. I gotta get back to Street Fighter 6. That game's also great.
Yeah, it is. I love Street Fighter 6.
I just love Street Fighter. That's my main takeaway from playing a bunch of Street Fighter Alpha 2 for doing this. I'm just happy playing Street Fighter.
Street Fighter fucking rules. Like, I grew up with it, and it's just like, there wasn't a time where I didn't like it. Like, I love Street Fighter. Like,
no, that's completely fair. I mean, I'm not a big, like, I don't like fighting games. I really just enjoyed playing these, and this is not my type of game, and I had a blast. And I always say that because, like, that is a good mark of a game when you're playing something outside your comfort zone for a genre you don't care about, and you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I felt here. Now, Alpha 2, I think I enjoyed the most. I played a lot of Alpha 2. I beat it with almost every character. There were just a couple that I didn't do it with Birdie, because I don't like Birdie, because it's not my style of play.
It's so weird.
And I think him and Saddam, I beat it with everybody else but those two. And I didn't like Charlie. I don't think I did it with Charlie, but I did it with the rest. Maybe not.
Charlie's just guile. Saddam, I've beaten Alpha with him in a couple of Alpha games. He's easy to get. He has a lot of fun moves.
How different are the endings, Mike, from 1 and 2? Because they take place. 2 like replaces 1 in the canon, right?
2 replaces 1, yes. Ryu fights Akuma. That's part of the main story. Ryu fights Ken and knocks. Or no, is it Alpha? No, Alpha 3 is where Ken gets controlled by Bison for a little bit. That's not. But I know him meeting Akuma or fighting Kuma is in Alpha 2. Chun-Li fights Bison, but then gets knocked out. He leaves her alive, and that leads to her finding out about what's he doing in 3. I want to say about his base and stuff. It leads to that. Can't remember. Not as many are sticking out to me. Charlie dies. That one is canon. He gets shot by the plane. Because Bison owned the military. Yeah. Alpha 1 and 2 is the same, but 2's... Oh. It's because he doesn't live.
Is he not in Alpha 3?
He's not in Alpha... No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he is?
No, Charlie is in Alpha 3.
Yeah, okay. I thought he was, because I know they added Guile in Upper.
They just retconned him for like Alpha 3. It's so weird. In fact,
But
the
he's still
ending in
dead.
Alpha 3, and they kind of retcon it where he actually survives in the ending, and it's like super weird.
Yeah, but that one's
That
fun.
is strange.
Yeah,
But
like
that was
I didn't
also-
understand what Capcom was doing with that. Like, Capcom, what are you doing? Like,
But that was another one of those cool like things for people who had been like with the series, that whole time was like, oh, it's Guile's friend. This is so cool. Like the one that died.
Yeah.
Just like having that knowledge going in to Alpha, 1. It's like, oh wow, there he is. It's really cool. At the time, it was very cool.
Awesome. Do we want to do Alpha 3?
Oh, I got a couple more things for Alpha 2.
Oh, sure.
They introduced a couple characters, like we mentioned Sakura. I really like Jen. Jen kind of grew on me. I played him a few times. He's also the first, I want to say, stance character in a Street Fighter game.
yeah, he is.
Which means nothing to me, but it feels like something I should mention.
He doesn't have specials, but he has multiple stances with all different normals, if I recall correctly. Fascinating characters. Is that accurate?
He's got specials.
Yeah, he's
Oh, yeah.
got specials. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like in one stance he's got like a rising kick. In another stance he's got like a different version of a 100 hand slap type thing. I want to say that there's a dashing move, but that might be his super.
I should try him out. I've never played him.
Cool character.
He's a character from 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember playing 1 and being like, oh, Gen's here. Neat. Gen's cool.
Apparently also canonically killed by Akuma. Or wait, but I think they retconned that too.
They retconned that, yeah, because
most of
he's
the deaths get retconned.
yeah, a lot of them. Because I think he's not in 5, but he's mentioned later on in the Street Fighter canon as being around.
He was in 4 eventually.
Okay, because 4 has a shit ton of characters.
Yeah, by the end, I mostly just played the original Street Fighter 4, and they had such a huge cast at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Rose is in this one. I really like Rose. And Kuma was fun. I enjoyed playing as Kuma.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was probably my favorite character in Alpha 2 overall. So funny thing is that in the early days of Akuma showing up, a magazine mistranslated his Raging Demon attack to Instant Hell Murder. And I, to this day, still call it Instant Hell Murder because I think that's a much cooler name.
Instant Hell Murder.
It's not just hell. It's hell murder, and it's instant.
Yes.
It's several things at once.
And I was playing Alpha 2 today with Akuma, and I was like, "Oh no, I can still drop that like in a split second."
Yeah. Anything you guys want to say about Alpha 2 before we go on?
Yeah, once again, straight up one of my favorite fighting games of all time, flat out. Like,
Okay.
It would be
Probably.
I think it would be in my top 3.
For me, I was just gonna say it's probably my favorite soundtrack of the 3.
Oh hell yeah!
I think it's real good. It's my favorite of the alphas for sure.
Like, and it's most people's favorite, and I get that, but Street Fighter Alpha 3, depending on my mood, is either my favorite Street Fighter game of all time, or depending on my mood, it's Super Street Fighter 4.
Yeah,
But it's like those two games are constantly jockeying for the number 1 slot in my head. I play a shit ton of Alpha 3.
Alpha 3 is an interesting one. I love it too. It's the one I played the most as a kid. As I played more of them, I started to like 2 more, mostly just because of 3 has like a slipperier feel to me. Like the hit stun's a lot faster. I think you jump a little less high. It just feels a little off to me, but I'm sure if I played more Alpha 3, I would adjust.
Alpha 3 for me had a lot of issues, but that's because with Alpha 3, I was playing Alpha 3 Max, unfortunately, but you have full super bars. And as a guy who can't pull off supers, that means, and I'm only playing 1-round fights, I'm playing the easiest difficulty, they're going to get a super off on me where I don't know how to do it, and I'm going to have an issue. So I died a lot, and I was like, I'm not having fun. So I just stopped.
Max is the PSP version?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I threw that on my Vita this morning.
It has actually 4 exclusive characters, which I can talk about. 4. Eagle from Street Fighter 1, Ingrid from the Capcom Fighting Evolution. That doesn't matter. Maki from Final Fight 2, and Yoon from Street Fighter 3.
Yep.
Final Fight 2 character, deep cut.
Yeah,
I love Final Fight 2 because when I was a kid,
Never played it.
We didn't have Final Fight 1. We had Final Fight 2. Don't know why, but we had Final Fight 2.
Mike, that's actually the better thing for you. You got the better deal in the end as a kid playing that because Final Fight 1 on Super Nintendo didn't have fucking co-op gameplay.
Yeah, that's probably why we didn't have it.
Yeah, Final Fight 2 and 3 on Super Nintendo both have 2-player co-op.
But we didn't have
those
3.
were Super Nintendo exclusives. I've never played them. I should.
You should.
Yeah, there are.
They're fun beat 'em ups.
Awesome. Yeah, they're awesome. Especially 3. 3's a blast.
3's really good.
I adore Final Fight. Haven't played that. I haven't played Streetwise, but I have played.
You can skip that.
Yeah,
I have played the what's the Revenge? Final Fight the Revenge.
Final Fight Revenge
skip that too.
That game is so bad.
Final Fight Revenge is fucking hilarious and stupid. Like, oh my god.
The only reason you should play that or Streetwise is if you do it for a podcast, which I have not done yet, but I have thought about it.
Two of my favorite things about Final Fight Revenge is that, number one, Eddie E's special move, like his super special, is him turning into a cop car and chasing you down. And also,
and there's like crosshairs, right? Like you control reticle.
Yeah, and like you drive. You actually control the fucking police car. And also, his Eddie E's projectile is he literally just shoots his gun and he goes bang. He literally says bang when he shoots his gun. Also, I lied. My third favorite thing about Final Fight Revenge is that Poison is a fucking playable character and it's awesome because Poison is awesome. But also, Poison's special is that she grabs you and she sexy collages you to death. Like, she does all these, like, you get this, like, flurry of flashes of her doing sexy poses, and she finishes off. One of the poses is her naked in a bathtub. You don't see her naked, but you can tell she's naked, like, in the water. Like, she's in the bathtub. One is her doing, like, a couple of different sexy poses. One is her, like, and then she finishes it off with, like, blowing you a kiss. She sexies you to death.
I mean, yeah, that's what you expect from Poison. That's
exactly.
No one can fight that.
No one can handle. She's too sexy. Literally, she's too sexy.
So the other new character, so all the returning characters from one and 2 come back, and in 3 they added Balrog, Blanca, Cammy, Cody from the Final Fight series.
Yep.
Took them long enough.
Yeah. E Honda, Julie, Junie, Karen, Armika, Vega are the other characters. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a couple more. DJ, Evil Ryu, Fei Long, Guile, Shinakuma, and T-Hawk.
Not all of those characters were there originally.
Yeah.
No, those all come throughout the different versions.
Vanilla Alpha 3 is just the characters before DJ and Guile and everything.
Yeah.
Vanilla Alpha 3's character list is actually pretty small comparing how big the latter versions of Alpha 3 get. Like, I mean,
it's still huge. It's still like very maximalist. And Alpha 3 came out after Street Fighter 3, the new generation.
Oh, it was really, that late?
Yeah. And it really, so Street Fighter 3 really scaled back the cast, really streamlined a lot of the mechanics and brought in some new ones. And Alpha 3 feels almost like this like best of last hurrah finale. Everyone's here to Street Fighter 2.
And that's what it was for me, because I really did not like Street Fighter 3 in any of its incarnations.
Oh, I love Street Fighter 3.
I didn't like the cast, and it got way too technical for me with the parry system and everything. And so Alpha 3 was like my game, where I was like, oh no, these are the characters that I love, and this like I understand how this plays because it's just building off of the last 2 Alpha games. And so that was my game. Like I've tried multiple times to go to like Third Strike because it's like considered a god tier Street Fighter game, and I just have no time for it.
I think Third Strike and Double Impact are 2 of the best video games ever made. I think they're absolutely incredible. I think Alpha 3 is way better than New Generation.
We will get to Street Fighter 3 next year. I'm going to do it next year.
Awesome. But yeah, I mean, in addition to changing so much and being such a like flipping of the tables, I just think New Generation doesn't feel great to play. I like to play a lot more than it.
Alpha 3 was too much for me. Like, I was excited to play it. I wanted to go through the arcade with more characters, because then I feel like... Because I keep a list of every game that I beat all year, forever, type of thing. And, like, for me, like a fighter, I'm like, okay, I should play it with the majority of the characters, or at least one of every style, and beat it, so I can feel like, yes, I did it. And with Alpha 3, I just couldn't do it. Like, there was... Like, I talked a little bit before of them having the full super bars and me not understanding it. It was just something where the game just felt too hard for a casual player playing it on easy. And, like, I had to actually use save states multiple times to get through a fight sometimes. And I'm like, okay, this is getting stupid. Like, I just need to be done. And I had to start next week's game. So there was that too, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can see that because, like I said, it is building on the last two games in a pretty big way. So,
Yeah.
The big thing with Alpha 3 is that there's 3 different isms that you can choose for each character. There's X-ism, which is, depending on the character, it either makes them feel more like Street Fighter Alpha 1 or Street Fighter 2 for like a lot of the older characters where they're doing more damage. Yeah. They only have like 1 level of super, but it's like a super powerful super.
I think it also disables alpha counters and air blocking. So you kind of need to approach those characters a lot more like you would a Street Fighter 2 character.
Exactly, yeah. And then A-ism is much like you've got all of the tools that you've expected from like Alpha 2, right? Like
from Alpha 1 at least.
Yeah. Like you don't have the custom combo, but you have the alpha combos, you have the 3-tiered super combo system, you have the air blocking, and then V-ism is the dedicated custom combo version. And so that's something that I would do for certain specific characters on the PlayStation version, like Guile in particular. Like I got pretty good at keeping someone up in the air for a while with flash kicks.
Okay.
I mean, at least in Alpha 2. You can really dismantle people with Charlie if you know what you're doing.
Yep.
And Alpha 3 story-wise is everybody going after Bison, and they're all essentially end up at Bison's base.
Yep.
That's what the general story of this is.
Yeah,
this is the big, Bison going after, Ryu's Hado and that whole thing. Like really kind of piggybacking off of the movie in a way.
Yeah.
One of my favorite story little plot moments in Alpha 3 is something that I love is in Chun-Li's story when she gets to the very end fight with M. Bison. During the cutscene, she fucking pulls a gun on M. Bison. And like she pulls a gun and points it at him, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, man, Chun-Li ain't fucking around. All right.
I think he gets murdered for the first time in Alpha 3 too.
Yeah,
then
he loses his body and they build a new one or something.
Yeah.
I think he dies in every ending.
Yeah, he dies in Alpha 3, he dies in Street Fighter 2, then he dies in 4 and 5, I want to say.
And he's back in 6. Wonder if he dies in his ending in that. I
don't.
He looks real cool. I can't play him very well in 6. So do V-isms just, like, can you not do supers with V-ism?
No, you just got access to the custom combo.
Okay.
So that's like the big sacrifice. But of course, you've got a full bar of it. You've got a full V-ism bar to start the round. So you can do some stuff if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I've heard V-ism is extremely powerful in Alpha 3 to the point that this is more recent, but tournaments have started to ban it because it sort of dominated top level play so much that they're like, oh, but there's a lot more to this game. So let's have you can choose A-ism or X-ism and a lot of the other flavors start coming out.
For sure. And this game actually, and again, the PlayStation version, that's what I played the majority of.
That's how I actually discovered Alpha 3. Like Alpha 3 was like, I had no idea there was even an arcade version of Alpha 3. Like I just one day at the rental store, I was like, Street Fighter Alpha 3, they made an Alpha 3? Holy shit. Like, I immediately rented it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I was working in retail at the time. I worked for an indie video game store, and I imported Alpha 3 for PS1 because I couldn't wait. And I remembered, like, it was, I think, Christmas weekend that it came in. And I drove down to Corpus Christi where my cousin was like, check this shit out. I got Alpha 3. And we played the shit out of it that weekend. And because of the extra characters, because it was, Balrog and DJ and Guile in there, I ended up slowly shifting towards like the charge characters. DJ has a super combo in A-ism mode. It's a super rocket punch. And the hitbox on that sucker is ridiculous. And like, the amount of times that I hit my cousin with that when he thought he was safe was just like priceless all the time. And that actually led into Street Fighter 4, where that game I did have what I would consider a main fighter, and that was Blanca, like, because I just played so much Blanca in Alpha 3, and that just kind of, I got used to playing that type of character, and so that's what I was doing. And then in Street Fighter 6, they turned him into a goofy gorilla, and I can't abide it.
Oh, but do you not like Blanca-chan?
I hate Blanca-chan.
Blanca-chan is so cute.
Huh. I had not heard of Blanca-chan. Interesting.
Yeah, he's from Street Fighter 5.
I totally missed Street Fighter 5. I was living out of the country.
That's fair.
No, you didn't miss much.
Now's the time to go back if you're interested. Now that it's done, it's a good game from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
played a little
okay.
Street Fighter V. I like it. I would rather play 6, and then when I get sick of 6, I'll probably go back to like Alpha 2.
Yeah.
But that so that the Alpha 3 PS1 port and the later ports actually had a lot of stuff in it.
Yes.
Like they really added to it.
Oh god, yeah. The PSP port is ridiculous. Like a survival mode, like a travel the world mode. They added so much to it.
World Tour mode is so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, World Tour mode. I was tooling around with, and you can sort of you'll fight people under different scenarios. It's sort of like what they would do in Soul Calibur a year later. But you can also like change your isms around and upgrade each of your isms and change how they act and sort of explore the mechanics that way, which is very cool.
You can make such a busted ass character in World Tour mode. It's so fun.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. By the time you get to the end, you probably you're crushing everything with this ridiculous monster. Can you pit World Tour characters against each other?
I'm not sure. I think you can.
I'm pretty sure you can. I don't think that we ever did because I put like way more time into World Tour than my cousin did. So it was just like wasn't fair to have like, well, I have this version of Akuma where I can like basically cancel into any super combo every time that I want. So I don't think we mess with it all that often.
But what a cool idea. And
it's locked to the PSP.
It's on the PS1, it's on the Dreamcast.
It's on.
No, I mean Alpha 3 Max. That version.
Oh yeah, but the World Tour mode is in.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, good time that this episode is coming out because the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is about to come out, and that has the version of Street Fighter Alpha 3 that has all of the extra bells.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, it has World Tour mode and everything?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
What is it called that we're getting?
Capcom Fighting Evolution 2, I believe.
Fighting Collection 2.
Oh, Fighting.
Yeah, it also has CVS 2, which will like have rollback finally, and
it has like a new soundtrack too. Like it's not like I think you can still get the classic soundtrack, but you can have a new soundtrack, and like there's a whole bunch of cool stuff they're gonna do.
Yeah, they've got Power Stone. Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
Power Stone. They have Project Justice as well, right?
Yeah, fucking Power Stone and Project Justice are back. Like
so it's like the Hideaki Itsuno fighters.
Yeah,
and 0-3 upper because why not throw that in there?
Oh yeah, exactly.
I need to pick up Capcom Fighting Collection 1.
It's supposed to be coming out
with this collection that makes almost, if not all of the Capcom fighters from the Dreamcast available on modern consoles. Yeah,
that makes me really happy.
Yeah.
All the Marvel and all the Marvel stuff is out now on modern consoles and has online stuff. And like it's on Fightcade 2, and now these are coming out, and they're also a lot of these games are also on Fightcade as well. Like this stuff's fucking available. Like again, like it's available. Like you can find it fucking everywhere.
Yeah,
like,
and that makes me really happy.
Finally.
Fightcade's like really the way to play it these days. Yeah. But there's a feature in those collections I really like where everyone playing can pick a game and it will randomly pick a game.
Yeah, that's great.
From what you picked. So like
that's amazing.
Do it versus and just seamlessly jumping between all the games.
That's a fantastic like party idea. Like invite friends over, like or have like a video game party and then just set that on and just fucking like, okay, we're gonna what game's gonna win next, and then like that. Oh man, I'm sorry, that's amazing.
But letting people have that opportunity.
Yeah,
and
I need to
buy it's a great way to play Street Fighter.
I need to buy that Marvel vs. Capcom collection at some point when it.
It's supposed to be out soon.
Well, it's on Steam.
It's out.
Not the fight. I want the Marvel one. I mean, not the Fighting Collection 2. I want the Marvel one. I need to get that.
Yeah, I picked up a physical version of it because I was like, I need to make sure that this is available. Like I don't trust them to have this digitally.
It won't be around forever.
That's a fair.
Some of those games are real good. Some of them are not. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, the Marvel collection, the Capcom fighters, like it's all now available. This is so good.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually a really good thing, like to remember about the Alpha series is that there's not like the Versus series without the Alpha series because this is where a lot of those sprites came from originally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the mechanics, like this in Darkstalkers, kind of a lot of those ideas got brought forward.
Yeah.
Oh, they use so much freaking like. Because I've been following, even though I don't play fighting games, I've watched a lot of YouTube documentaries about them because I really like fighting games. I just can't play them. They're not my genre. but I
I get
love
it.
like just knowing about them. So I actually like I understand like everything you guys are saying. You know, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I understand everything. Like I like.
You'll get there. You just, don't worry about it.
I don't want to get there. I'll never play enough to be
Yeah,
good at it.
that's the thing. You don't
Play
seem
through.
interested, but you seem like
I
you're
get
very
it,
much
yeah.
enjoying the experience as you're
Exactly. And
interfacing with
that's
it. That
awesome.
rules.
That's awesome.
A year ago, when we did Street Fighter 2 with Kyle and Dan and someone else and some other people, like I had been thinking about Alpha. Like that's why, like I said last year, like we're doing Alpha in 2025, and I've been wanting to just because I wanted to finally like experience these games and understand like the series a bit. I wish I would have messed more with 3, but at least now I have a understanding. Oh, one shitty thing they do in 3, also in the arcade mode, if you lose the bison, it's game over.
Yeah, and that's where you get the bad ending, which is it happens for every character.
I was like,
forgotten
fuck
about
you,
that.
game. I had save state, so it didn't matter. What?
His Super Cycle Crusher in Alpha 3, though.
That move fucking terrifies me. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. When you see him back up and you're like, no, and then it just like just, holy shit.
I was mid-input. No!
Yeah, exactly.
So we mentioned the Versus series earlier, and I think there's sort of a continuum of how execution heavy Capcom fighters get, and Alpha's sort of a sweet spot for me. The kind of hard execution in Street Fighter 3 doesn't bother me, but I think Alpha's very approachable for the most part, except for the custom combos. Like, it's not like Marvel vs. Capcom where you sort of need to memorize your team and practice a combo that makes your opponent miserable in the training room for 3 hours. Like that's not the game Alpha is, but it does have all these extra options and extra things you can do and little flourishes you can put on your fighting style. I think it is a really elegant balance, and sort of like the level of complexity isn't the word, approachability I think they're aiming for in the series today with like 4 through 6.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. So, like, Street Fighter 3 was, like, way too, like,
hard.
It was, like, for, like, the scene, right? Like, the people who are really, like, hardcore into it. And that wasn't me. And then 4 was, like, a very nice return to form. It was, like, easy to pick up and play, but there was, like, depth to it where if you really, like, knew what you were doing, you could do some crazy shit. And I appreciated that. And then
4's execution's so much harder than 3's, but we'll get to that in another podcast.
Yeah, it wasn't like I guess I was able to pull off like decent combos that were not necessarily like the crazy high tier shit, but combined with just like my decades of Street Fightering, I did pretty well. Where then 5, it felt like the game like completely changed in a way that I couldn't really follow. And then 6, when it first came out, I was like, oh no, this is awesome. This feels so like welcoming, and again, it feels like 4, where it's like easy to pick up and play, but there's a high skill ceiling, and then it very quickly like went more in the direction of like 3 and 5 for me. Like once they started adding the DLC characters, and I was like, I can't even figure out what this character's doing. So I've kind of like fallen off of Street Fighter 6 in a big way, but I was super into it when it first came out.
I feel a kinship with 3 and like the sort of setups you can do, and we'll again
we'll do
a story for another podcast.
Yeah,
I will make it happen.
Hell yeah, I want to be there.
You will be. I
Thank
get
you.
people back that come back for a series. Usually when I do them, they want
Bless
to.
you.
They're always
Thank
first
you.
asked. So yeah, well, I'm due more because I like Street Fighter enough.
I will say, Mike, like for you in particular, like I would wait for a sale or whatever, but Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode is a ton of fun.
Oh, it looks good
with the with like the I forget what they call it, the easier input mode. Like I think you'll have a blast with it. It's got a fun, dumb story, and like it actually does teach you some pretty good like Street Fighter fundamentals, like through the course of the World Tour stuff. And then much like the Street Fighter Alpha 3 version of World Tour, you can make a really busted character.
Oh, it's on my list to get to someday. I'll probably buy it the way I buy all fighters. I wait till they're on deep discount and pick them up with with everything.
That.
Like I have Street Fighter 4 and 5 on Steam with everything.
Yep.
So,
I get that.
I got them in a bundles, but that's how I'll do that with stuff.
I do wonder though if they're going to do the same thing for 6. Like I don't know. It doesn't feel like
I mean, it all depends on like I probably won't touch 6 until we get to there with the series.
Yeah, okay.
So it's going to be a couple years. I mean, and I really want to jump into I'm probably going to, if I can find that, when that Marvel vs. Capcom series at some point will have a deep sale probably this year, I am picking it up for sure because I really want to talk about those.
Mm.
There's some cool games there. I am a big Marvel superheroes man.
Same.
Yeah.
I remember when, sorry, just quick little nostalgia story, but like, I remember when one of my local arcades, a little family fun center, got X-Men versus Street Fighter, and my mind fucking was blown. I was like 6 years old, and I'm like, X-Men and Street Fighter, and I'm just like, what? Like, are they allowed to do that? And like, oh my god.
We had the import copy for the Saturn of X-Men
hell yeah.
Fighter.
That's the best port. That's like, man, and it's such a shame about the PlayStation port. Like, and that's of course, that's the one that we got. We didn't get the fucking cool Saturn version that has all the cool shit. Like,
we had it at our store, and it was like the year that I started, and it was like after closing, and I was like talking to my manager, and my back was turned to the back of the store where we had like our demo units, and he was telling me something about procedure or something like that, and then he was like, oh man, look at how well Juggernaut animates on X-Men versus Street Fighter. I fucking love my Saturn. I was like, man, I love working here.
Hell yeah. Fucking nerds. I love it. Because I would totally be that person too. It'd be like, oh my god, look at the fucking walking animation on like Chun-Li and Ryu, and like, look at how good it looks. Oh!
Right, anything else?
Alpha's cool.
Yeah,
anything else to say about Alpha 3?
Yeah, I love Alpha 3. It's a little weird and different, but I kind of like that Capcom took some risks and, you know, changed things up again with Alpha 3. Like, they added more characters, added some new characters. Also, we forgot to mention that Karin, who's in the game, she's actually, the reason why she's there is because the reason why she's there is because she actually debuted in a Sakura manga, a Street Fighter manga about Sakura, or a Street Fighter comic about Sakura. So that's actually where she came from before Street Fighter Alpha 3. So from there, she debuted there, and then she debuted in Alpha 3. So just a cool little fun fact. Yeah, I love Alpha 3. I know I know there are people who don't like it, and that's fucking cool as hell. You know, like, we all have our, thoughts and opinions and stuff, but like, I love Alpha 3 for what it does. I also honestly really appreciate Alpha 3's soundtrack. I don't love it as much as Alpha 1 and 2, but there's a lot of things I like about Alpha 3's soundtrack that I feel like it takes a lot of risks. Like, I like that it actually completely changes everyone's themes. It's no longer like doing renditions of the music from Street Fighter 2. It's doing its own thing, and I honestly kind of respect that. In fact, there's certain character themes from Alpha 3 that I prefer over like the classic Street Fighter 2 music. Like, for example, I actually, even though I love Guy's music from Alpha 1 and 2, I really love Guy's theme from Alpha 3. It just sounds so badass. Like, it sounds like music you would hear in like a Steven Seagal movie from the 90s, or like it just has this like hard edge to it. Like, it's so good.
All right. Anything else for Alpha 3 or Alpha in general before we go to questions?
I agree. It's neat that it's a sequel. I like it a lot less than Alpha 2, but I think it is neat that it doesn't try to replace Alpha 2. Like, I think Alpha 2 sort of makes Alpha 1 feel obsolete in a lot of ways, and
it does.
3 doesn't even feel like it's trying to do that.
No, they're very like different games that kind of satisfy different itches.
And such different vibes too, like the presentation, the feeling of the engine. It all feels new.
The announcer changes, like
great announcer.
Yeah, hell yeah, I love them.
Go.
Oh man, I should have. When I was introduced, I should have done a Street Fighter Alpha 3 announcer quote. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Don't worry, I got you. I did one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my god, you're my hero. Thank you.
All right, I didn't get many, but we'll go to questions, comments, memories first from the Street Fighter group from Louisiano Physio. He said top Street Fighter because I just posted the Alpha Anthology PS2 copy, and then the other guy, and then San Albana just said Street Fighter 2-0. Okay.
Yep.
And then the only other group that commented from official Laser Time community, I got a few from Trey Johnson, friend of the show. PS1 version of Alpha 3 is the one that has the best single player modes of all time.
Yeah, I can get that. Yeah.
That's the World Tour mode?
Yes, the World Tour mode. Yeah, I can agree with that to a degree. Like, World Tour mode's pretty fucking cool. Like, it's fun.
Soul Blade is like really up there though. Like,
true.
PS1 fighters with
the Soul Blade and the first couple Soul Calibers have like really good like single player modes.
Really
and, like,
phenomenal.
World Tour modes. I can't talk today. Excuse me.
Yeah, the Weapon Master stuff. That was how I was introduced to that kind of single player fighting game.
that was fun. For me, it was Soul
and
Calibur.
of course, Virtua Fighter 4 took that. Virtua Fighter 4
Oh, yes!
took that idea and then had like real Japanese arcades playing AI based on real players who played on those machines, which is the coolest single player ever. But Alpha 3s is really cool.
That's the type of Sega that I love, is shit like that. Like, that's the Sega that I love. Like, that. Thank you, Sega. Holy crap.
BF6 coming this year, I think, right?
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah, we do.
I don't fuck it up.
Yes, please.
Yeah, don't fuck it up.
All right, from Andrew Gold, I still have that disc along with the Street Fighter anthology, which I think also had the Street Fighter animated movie.
Yeah, I think it was 2 Hyper, which was like a weird combo ROM of all the Street Fighters. And Third Strike and the 2 movie, I had that.
Yep.
And then from John Barnes, he has 2 comments we're going to read. He said, be sure to dig deep on that disc. There is a secret verse mode only game, Hyper Street Fighter Alpha, that lets you mix and match fights between versions of the characters from across the Alpha series. Similar to Hyper Street Fighter 2 before it, including versions of a few characters based on their Marvelverse series incarnations. Some of the characters even get background music from other games they appeared in, and to the point that sound text includes full soundtracks for certain games not in the collection, including Final Fight and Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
I did not know that. I'm going to have to parsec that with my friend.
Yeah.
That sounds rad.
Actually reminds me of something that I forgot to mention on Alpha 3, which is that the X-isms, in addition to, feeling more like older versions of the characters, and I mean, we did mention with Chun-Li, she gets her original outfit, but there's other little properties that change depending on the character you're using, and the big one is Saddam, he, instead of the size, which I always thought was like lame in Alpha 1 and 2, he actually has the katanas from Final Fight.
Yes, the dual katanas.
Yeah.
And last comment from him also. My earliest memory of the Alpha series was seeing Alpha 2 for SNES with that extremely cool box/key art and a Toys R Us ad. It would be many years after that before I actually played any game in the series. It had a weird release history on Nintendo platforms, starting with that game, then Alpha for Game Boy Color and Alpha 3 on Game Boy Advance. Yes, there's an Alpha 3 for Game Boy Advance.
It's a pretty impressive port for being like a Street Fighter game on Game Boy Advance. Like, it's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah. We talked about the Alpha 1 Game Boy Color one, and I also had the
really impressive.
Yeah, I had the Alpha 3 on GBA. That might have been how I first played it.
I like the pixel art.
Yeah, I mean they did it, It's not the best way to play the game, but it's a way to play the game.
I had Alpha 1 on Game Boy Color, and I was like really in love with it. Like, for just being like, wow, this is Street Fighter on Game Boy, but it's actually like amazing. Like, holy shit.
So I think that's cool that the Game Boy Advance one actually looks really cool to me.
Yeah, it's really impressive stuff.
I have a thing for pixel art in general. Like, I just really like it. And I like it when you pixelize 3D models. So
they were sprites in the arcade version.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, they're sprites. Never mind. Sorry, sprites. But these are smaller sprites that then look easier.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I like that downgrade graphic part of sprites.
But they did do that for Tekken on.
Oh yeah, Tekken on Game Boy Advance is amazing too. Like that
weird
cool,
game. I played a bunch of it.
Such a weird port, but it's like super impressive.
Yeah,
going for a port of 3, which is wild.
I love because actually
fun
fact about Tekken, my first ever Tekken was Tekken 3.
I do.
A lot of people's first.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I love that.
Okay, this Tekken for Game Boy Advance is ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's neat.
It's neat that it exists, but that's ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ugly, but it's also actually kind of impressive. I'm sorry. Like, it actually, I feel like the way
I like the Alpha 3 sprites better. They fit better in that.
Yeah, I get it.
style. That's all. It is impressive. All right, and then we should give away a code. Let me see what Steam code somebody can randomly get today. I bought more Steam codes for you guys, so you're welcome. All right, here's a really fucking good game for your free Steam code. It is for Control Ultimate Edition. If you somehow don't have it, here's a Steam code for it. BMI0MRPIGEJYD. That is your Steam code for Control Ultimate Edition. It's a really great game if you never played it, somehow.
Hell yeah.
And don't have it for free from all the different iterations of it. Fucking great game. All right. And then we'll go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Kyle, why don't you lead us in?
All right, this is easily going on my shelf, but there's another reason why this is going on my shelf besides the fact that, like, all these games are fantastic, and that is the amazing addition of Pocket Fighter or Super Gem Fighter, the super adorable chibi Street Fighter game.
Gem Fighter's great. I was gonna say at some point an episode on like the Street Fighter spinoffs would be great because there's some really good stuff there.
And it's so cute, all the little chibis, and they're fighting, and it's like I love it.
Yeah,
it's a cool game. That's also how I first played it.
Same.
No, there will be other Street Fighter.
Actually, no, I'm sorry, I'm lying. I disremembered. I actually played the PS1 port of Pocket Fighter when it came out in North America. Pretty good port, surprisingly, a lot better than some of their other ports. Really fun game. There's actually a really cute mode in Pocket Fighter for the Saturn and PlayStation where you answer like a questionnaire, but then there's like these like little like Capcom references in it, and it's so cool. It's just so charming. I love it. But yeah, this is easily going on my shelf. Like no fucking question asked. Just bam on the shelf. Like this is on my shelf, but the game isn't in the box, but it's in my PlayStation 2 and I'm playing it.
That's probably more of a compliment than shelf.
Totally. No. But it's just man, great, just amazing collection. I love it.
All right. And Dan.
So I think Alpha 2 is on my shelf, and the others are in the stack. Alpha 2 is in my Street Fighter rotation, along with like 2 Turbo, Super 2, Third Strike, 6, and I don't know. There's probably one I'm forgetting. That one is a top tier Street Fighter for me. 1 and 3 I like. They don't kind of rank the same way, but 2 is in my regular rotation. I play it regularly and like it a lot.
Okay. And Julian.
Yeah, if we're talking about them as individual games,
your choice.
2 and 3 are absolutely on my shelf. And then 1 is on the stack as like a fun curiosity piece, and just to like go back and like mess with these silly chain combos. My only thing is that it's, kind of bittersweet because I don't talk to my cousin anymore. So I don't have anybody to throw down for like, 100 matches of
I'm sorry.
whatever Street Fighter we're playing at the time. So that's the only thing that I don't like. I was actually playing these on the 30th anniversary collection on PS5.
Yep.
I mean, it's a PS4 version, which they do have online versions for. I think it's Alpha 2 and 3. I forget. But I was like, it's not the same. So I didn't mess with it.
I get you.
There's something
if you ever want a sparring partner, let me know. We did that for 2, and it was lovely.
Yeah,
Nice.
You should get on Fight Kid. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in that, but it is cool that it exists. I don't want to fight real people. I just want to fight the computer because the real people will kick my ass more than the computer. So I'm good. All right, and then I'll go last. I'm going to put this on the shelf. I had a really good time. I actually really enjoyed this game. Like, I didn't have super high expectations, but I was looking forward to it, and it was a fun time. And I'm just rating the series as a whole. I don't feel like doing all 3 because they're pretty much close to the same game. But it was a really fun game to finally experience and play through, and I'm glad I can finally say I played the Alpha series and understand it way more than I ever did. And that feels very good. Going on the shelf.
Cool.
And this felt like something that just needed to be done for me for a long time. So very nice, needed thing to be done for my gaming collection.
Cool.
All right. And I guess I should introduce what we're talking about next week. Next week, you will hear me talk about Xenosaga, Episode 1. That is a monster of a game. All I'm going to say here. But you can hear about that next week. And we should go to plugs. And Kyle, where can people find you at?
Sure. Well, you can find me on Blue Sky at chibiufo.bsky.social. And you can find my podcast, the Unidentified Flying Obsession Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
And Julian.
Yeah, you can find me also on Blue Sky. Just search for Julian Titus. I am the co-host and producer of the Stage Select, a video game variety show. Also, just search for where you play your podcasts, and we'll be there. And it's a very dumb and silly show.
But you have fun. That's what matters.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Y'all can find me on Blue Sky. It's melman.bluesky.social. I don't post much, but if I posted and someone saw it, that would be neat. I do want to post more. I do want to finally move on. It's time to get on Blue Sky.
Yes, it is. I'm not even on Twitter anymore. I gave up on it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't handle a piece of shit, so I had to go.
Twitter is where I get all of my HoloLive stuff, and so that's where I was commiserating with all of the people that were upset about Nanashi Mume and Gargura retiring. So it's been very good for that. It's been very cathartic.
I get that. Like, there's nothing wrong with still being a part of it. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Same.
I for some weird reason, I left Twitter in November of 2024. I'll just say that. That's when I said, nope, time to go. I'm done.
Yeah, it's totally understandable.
I was like, this is my sign to get the fuck out of here. So then I didn't delete it. I mean, you can still find games I'm off, but I don't post.
Yeah. A lot of my friends were either getting deleted or like they were getting harassed and shit. And it's just like, yeah, okay, I'm fucking done with this place. Like, I loved Twitter. I met a lot of my friends through Twitter, and including one of the closest friends of like the best friends I've ever had in my life. So it's just like, nah, I'm done. Like this place sucks now, and all my friends are moving over. So I'm gonna move with them.
Yeah. So I that's why I left for a couple of reasons, and then I just didn't want to support Mr. Musk anymore in any shape or form. It's fuck that man. So
I agree.
Yeah, but I understand. A very good friend of mine won't give up Twitter, and because I know why. So that's the same thing. It's just people she follows that haven't want to give up. I mean, I had a pretty good Twitter follower amount, so I get it. Like I was getting up there too, like through podcasts and other people. So I understand people don't want to give it up, but yeah, it's when I started being constantly shown like right-wing propaganda shit for no reason. Like I would even unfollow it, and it would just come right back. I'm like, I'm not even following this. Like, why are you even showing this to me? And I'm like, I'm done. Like, fuck you. Like, too much.
Yeah, I get it.
Musk is like, I must push what I think on everybody else because I can. He could. He owns it.
I like that your kids hate you, Mr. Musk. You suck.
I do too. I think that's awesome. All right, I should do my plug. So if you enjoyed this episode, there's over 800 episodes of this podcast. You can find everything we do on Podbean. We do movies, comics, TV shows, video games, all sorts of content. You can search whatever you want in Podbean. You never know what you're going to find. We do tons of series. If you want to hear the rest of our Street Fighter content, that will be in the show notes. There's not a lot, but I'm trying to get there more slowly. So check that out. If you want to support the show, we do have Patreon. For a little dollar a month, you can vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. This month will be 2 polls. Last month was only 1 because I had to get caught up a bit. So definitely go check that out. Great, we support the show, only $1. And if you want to be on the show, if you want to suggest things for the show that I will someday get to, if you want to lurk, join our Discord. We're always happy to have new people join the Discord. It's free. You'll see a link in the show notes. And want to give a shout out my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Free. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go check her out and check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. He's doing his show, talks a lot of Final Fantasy and other stuff. And then also check out absolutely the best podcast of Work in Progress. They talk about the MCU movies and MCU adjacent movies. So definitely go check out their show too. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only. Rate and review wherever you get your podcast. And that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.